Welcome back to video 2 of 3. Fiverr is a scam. Every time I try to use it, it's just a scam. And so I worry about that P&L, how long it can last. You do have technical support at 2480. If you lose that, you probably can get it at 22. Above, there's a bunch of sellers. All these sticks are sellers. I would not go long going into 28. So if you have the guts, is get long in this zone to try to get out here. I don't think you can get out of 30 with that material headline like a buyout or something. GE, do what you want. I am not a believer in this company yet. Every headline I see it breaks out of is because they sold something. Like it's like you have a nice house and you used to have money and now you're selling your assets and you think it's a good thing. It just isn't. But they are streamlining the business. It's in a full breakout mode. I've had my successes shorting it, but the last one wasn't successful, so I'll put it on hold for myself. And earnings are in 9 days. I'll probably pull a trade on earnings based on the data I see in the options. Until then, it's in the penalty box. It looks like a breakout. Again, the breakout was down in the 90 and then 118. So now it has double breakout. 150 is doable just based on that. But you do have earnings in about 9 days. And then we'll find out the report card on the company. Is it growing? Is it not growing? And then we'll do a fundamental assessment. GES. I don't know what that is. You do have support below and resistance above. So if you go long or short, if you determine to short it or go long, you're guessing either way. If it's an investment, I understand. It's just the chart doesn't help you a lot. What is this? GIB.A. Not an obvious entry point. Last time they were here, they failed miserably. They're buying dips, higher lows, higher highs. So if you're interested in it for the long term, look into it on a dip into the low 140s, or if you're lucky, the low 130s, high 130s. Gilead, same comment. It's going into a prior fail. Now it looks like a breakout opportunity. If you go above 90, it looks like it has clear sailing to go to 108. That is correct. But if you look left, it's been years, like years. It has failed here since 2016. So that's something. We'll see what happens. This might be different, and this could be the breakout. Just buy the dip if it happens. GIS. All right, so it just achieved bearish target 1 of 2. The second bearish target is at 56. It's pretty close to 56 if I'm an investor. I wouldn't go all in because it could still drift lower just from the market if the market decides. It has a lot of buyers into 56, so 56 is a better entry point. Technically speaking, this is a base for a bounce to 65. I don't know if you're a trader or an investor, but those comments should help you either way. GLD, the bounce is pretty good, but it's into prior fail. I can't tell you for sure, but the chart inspires another dip down to 186.5 and a battle there. If you lose it, you'll end up in the low 180s, but it has just as much opportunity to break out as well. This one gets a little bit of help. It's not completely inversely related to the dollar, but it does get help from dollar movements, especially on headlines. Generac, I don't trade it anymore. I did a couple of times, it's just a pain. If you twist my arm, I would sell puts in it on dips. The business is okay, the P&L is great, and people are going to need to go off the grid at some point or be ready to go off the grid. And I have two, not Generacs. I bought different brands, but I have generators in California because you never know. We are an earthquake country and you might need to pull up your own electricity someday. And it's a relatively inexpensive thing to add to your house. So I get it. The business is fine. Technically, the chart is in the middle of a range. If I go long here from an investment perspective, I have a lot of hope. It's better if I go long on a dip into 116. And if we get lucky and it loses 116 and it goes to 108, I think that's where I was long before. So I could be convinced to sell another put below in the 2 digits. Not for me. You can see that long stick. It's been a fantastic trader. In fact, I'm going to say something here about the whole stock market. Alphabet has been leading us up from here. This whole thing was Alphabet leadership into the market. When the market hiccuped during the day, Alphabet would show strength and then the market follows it. So I'm going to draw your attention on this candle here and put a question mark on it. Was this the top for now for Alphabet? This is me speculating. So 145. What the heck happened there? So I'm going to put an add an alert. All right, so if we don't take out 145, we could lose, we could revisit 135. And if we lose 135, that means the markets are hiccuping. Company is fantastic, fantastic. I wouldn't start a long-term investment right here, right now, all in. I wouldn't even take 20% of my allotment. Hilton, I wouldn't touch it. It's at all-time highs. What is the question? Are you shorting it? You need something to short against. Like I like prior fail or an extension. So if you can find out that this is an actual target, it doesn't look like an easy target to calculate, maybe. Then you can say, okay, it hit a target, 42. I think it's more like 193, the target of this breakout, but it's not for me, not long here. Hood, I had shares, I got out. And I lost money, by the way, on the shares. It was a mistake. But I took the strength to get out. I used the strength to get out. Support is probably through $10. I just don't understand this P&L. Something explain that to me, please. So I'm not involved. Technically speaking, trading-wise, I would buy the dip into 10 and see if I can make money on it. Otherwise, I'm done with it. So tell me why you need it. In fact, I can tell you it's probably headed to 9.8 or 9.6 after a bounce. So here's my guess on the chart. There is a bounce coming and it will be sold off inside of a descending channel and it could curl back down and do this. And that will be your entry point. If you're short, that might be your target. Humana moved on UNH. UNH reported earnings and Humana dipped. What the heck was that? Oh, that was the weird merger they came up with. Okay, talk about manipulation. That was like the weirdest headline ever. Yeah, we have a three-way merger. No, we don't. That was kidding. We're kidding. Something like that. So just be careful. If you do lose 423, you're probably going to 385 or 390. Whether a good company or not doesn't matter. This is price action, and it still needs to report earnings in about 22 days. You have a seller in control, lower lows, lower highs. Respect it, and the buyer has the opportunity to stop that against those levels I just mentioned. But if you lose those levels, you're going lower. Okay, so basically, if you bought this rally, you ended up with a lower low. If it comes into a rally, it might do this. Not an obvious entry point. I think 150 is tough. If you take it out, you can get to 170, but it doesn't look easy. It looks easier to lose 128. You do have support at 128. If you lose it, you'll come down to 116. It would be a better entry point. Intel, it's not going to be easy to break through 50. It's probably easier to break through 45. So if I'm a guessing man, and if you tell me the markets are going to just lollygag for a few couple weeks, yeah, this is a lot of resistance, and this is not a lot of support. So this might do this, and you do have better support here. I haven't posted a spreadsheet in 2 years. No. I will post 3 videos. It will take 4 hours to type up a spreadsheet on this many tickers. I'm giving you a couple of hours now. I'm recording them and sharing the video. You can just scroll through the video. They're alphabetical and get to it. More efficient, more coverage. I can do a spreadsheet on 50 tickers or cover 150, 170 tickers. The letter J, I don't think I know this company. And it's going into a prior fail from a chart perspective, and it's got solid support. So if you got long into the solid support, I get it. If you're an investor, there's nothing to do. If you're a trader, I wouldn't short here. I wouldn't go long here. I would go long on another dip. And if I wanted to short, I would short against 140 with an immediate stop. JD, I would not trade Chinese stocks just because I don't know what's going on in China. I don't know what's going on in the US to a certain degree. I certainly am not going to invest in something I don't know. Technically speaking, if you're losing this, and if you lose this at 24, you're going to 21 or 20. Stock comes from wherever, it consolidates, and if you lose the consolidation, you come down to here. You might bounce. I think you have resistance. And if you curl back down, that's how it happens. But they are consolidating, so you have to respect the bulls from that perspective. JP Morgan, oh my gosh, wow, look at that candle they gave you. So my comments when they reported, I said they don't have a history of holding their greens too long. So they have another couple of days in order to break out of that, and there are more banks that report this week and next. So now I think there's Goldman and Bank of America and a couple more companies that are going to report. I forgot who's the last one. Morgan Stanley, I think, is the last one. So they will have an effect of sorts, but the leadership, the initial knee-jerk reaction happened. If JP loses 164, it'll be at 156. I don't think it's going to break out of 176. We shall see. Lennar, very tempting to short these companies. I cannot imagine there's not a real estate crisis coming. I just don't see how logical it is not to have one. There's so many like black and white things. What do I mean? Experts telling me it's black and experts telling me it's white, and they both are making sense. Something is weird. I don't know what it is. Maybe Peter can tell us here. He knows. A whole bunch of you are experts. I have a bunch of smart people telling me it's the best time to be in real estate, and a bunch of people telling me there's a crash in real estate coming. I don't know who's right. And I'm more tempted to say the bears are right because it just doesn't make sense. But we'll see. Either way, this here is not an entry point. If you want to buy puts, you got my blessing. This way you can short very mildly, like with finite risk. There's a good chance it'll be at 142. In fact, I'm tempted. I'm tempted to look at it next week. We'll see. Lilly, freaking Lilly. I don't trade Lilly. I do not trade Lilly. These did not work out. They went up to a new high. See? So that's why I don't trade Lilly. You don't have an advantage. If you're trying to gauge the top in Lilly. I say freaking Lilly every time because I've traded it well and I ended up losing money anyway. Barely. I mean, I had a win. Last day it turned into a loss. 624 was a breakout. How high up did they wanted to go? I don't know. So be careful. LMB looks like it's selling rallies and it's easy to get to 35. It's not easy to get out of 44. LPG, they're buying dips and they just bought the dip off of the 40 and the 39 support. Here comes the test. Do they have enough to take out 44 and 45? And like this dip was bought into an ascending channel. They had enough to come back to the neckline and they had enough to break out. This dip is coming into an ascending channel. They're trying to get back to the neckline. Do they have enough to do that? That's a question mark. Check and the question mark. If not, they might do this. And then the conversation will be, will they be at 35? So that's your path. LRN. Yep. Heavy sellers at 61 or higher. One buyer at 55, 56. And one buyer at 55. It looks like easier to get to 55. And if you do, then you're in danger of getting to 50 or 48. So keep that in mind. LULU. I am short LULU from the live room, and it is working. If somebody bought puts or put spreads, and it is still shortable, but be careful how you do it. I did it via credit call spread, and now I think I closed them. I had an order open on Friday. I don't know if it filled or not. LULU is not very liquid with options, so it's not very friendly to active trading. They ask you to lose a lot, to give up a lot when you're going to close something. Okay, let me see here. So you do have these two tails, one of which is being tested, 478. They better hold it. If not, they get to 468. If they lose it, they get to 450s, low 50s. I would not get long here. It could be down in the low 400s, believe it or not, if not high 300s. Depends on the market. LVS in danger of losing 48.50, which is support until it's not. And if you lose 48.50, you might end up at 46.80. A lot of sellers above. I wouldn't be long. I wouldn't try longs unless you have an earnings report. You do in 10 days. So there you go. This one has an earnings report in 2 weeks. Who is this? MasterCard? Yeah, too high for me. People say that we might have a credit card crisis. This is a solid company. It's a buy the dip company for me, and it's not on a dip. I wouldn't touch it. MAR, Marriott. Same as HLT, I think, right? Is this an all-time high? Yeah. Again, I honestly am asking, when you come to me with an all-time high stock, what is the question? So from here to here and then back down to here, how many times has it done that? So is this one of those things? I'm asking. Ascending channel, buy the dip like MasterCard. MBLY, it's at target. I'm told technically it is a buy the dip, but I'm told don't buy the dip because the business is not that great. The P&L looks okay, so study the business, and if you like it for an investment purpose, start. You can go up to 50% of your position here because it either works or it doesn't, and if it doesn't work, then you decide to get out with half the problem or double down 30% lower, like in the low 20s, and then exit after that. Microchip, good company. Wow, look at these two tails that they placed through 79. So you have a buyer through 79 like you wouldn't believe. Support. And if you want to be conservative, you can lower that. I think it's a buy to dip into the support box. No if ands or buts about it. And if it comes down to here, it's a blind buy to dip, it looks like. So I'll put an alert here for it to come up onto my list if it falls. Huge sellers above. Earnings are coming up soon too. Meta, I'm short, tactical short to see what happens. It's basically shorting the market. So if you already took puts from me on the XLC, you're down 30% on those puts. That's basically shorting Meta. Meta is a quarter of the XLC. Alphabet is the other quarter. So both of those stocks are half the XLC. So if you're in the XLC trade, don't do anything with Meta. But the P&L is great, and it has a lot of upside future that we can't quantify. This metaverse thing, they haven't made. So far, it's contributing negatively. So imagine if they start making money off the metaverse, or they start saying how they're going to make money, then it'll be pretty scary. So the technical aspect is exciting enough. The P&L aspect is unknown. That's why it's unshortable that way. But I'm tactically shorting it. But it's basically shorting the market. I wouldn't start longs here. If I want to invest in it for the long term, I maybe take 10% stake in it just so I can relieve the itch of being long. Otherwise, it's a trade. MGM looks like it wants 41 or 40 in a series of lower lows and lower highs. Okay. Opportunity to break out from this one weird looking candle, 505, versus support at 480. If 480 fails, better support is 464. 3M, almost the same comment as MLM, Martin Marietta. You have a lot of sellers above. If you can't take out those sellers, I think it's easier to drift to 104.5. Monster. Not an obvious entry point, although it looks like a breakout. It's not for me. I don't like to buy multiple fails, even though it looks like a breakout. MP, it looks like a starting point. It fell into a nice base. Somebody went long. That's good. The only problem is, look at the P&L. What the hell? It used to be sales here, gross profit here, and then now there's no, net income here, and now there's no net income, and the sales are capitulating lower. And this is 5 quarters, so it's not a seasonality thing. Many question marks. Please study the company. Technically, this is a long zone, and sellers in 220. I would not be long above 19.5. MSCI, higher lows, higher highs, breakout off of 528. If it gets to 528 or 520, I'm along. Up here, you have sellers above, buyers below. Short term, you're guessing 2 weeks, 16 days until the next earnings. Microsoft. So Microsoft, like Alphabet, I want to know if it makes a higher high, right? I don't think it can. It has all the makeup. So the question mark is really Microsoft and Google are 2 embodiments as to what's next, this or a breakout. And the answer is coming sooner rather than later. And this is not a disaster. This will just be check back into support, 2% drop. It's going to feel like you know what. But if the market's correct, this one could be in the 376, 371 area, but they won't do it alone. This is like the beautiful P&L and outlook, AI this and AI that, excellent management. Better than Apple. This is better than Apple. They have better leadership, better outlook. They're not a one-trick pony like Apple is. So, and if I bet on one of the two for the next 20 years, it'll be Microsoft, not Apple. In fact, Microsoft, I think, is almost passing Apple in market cap. They're neck and neck. What is this? Yep, I would be short, not long. You're probably going to end up at 7.3, 7.4 in the next couple weeks. MSTR, this is a pure Bitcoin price play. If you want to trade a stock on Bitcoin, this would be better than Mara and better than the others, in my opinion. Good CEO, outspoken. The P&L is not what you evaluate it. It's probably a balance sheet story. But what's the point of putting your risk into a company when you can get the same results out of owning the thing the company works in? What if the guy goes away? What if the guy is crazy and he's cheating people? You take on risk from a company on top of the risk from the Bitcoin. So if it trades 1-to-1 to Bitcoin, I don't know if it does actually. Why bother going through the company? Let's put BITO. Well, actually BTC USD. It pretty much trades 1-to-1 with Bitcoin. Why bother adding risk from a company perspective? Why not trade Bitcoin? And now you can trade Bitcoin. You don't have to have a crypto account. So good dip into a base, but whatever happens to Bitcoin is going to happen to this one. I don't care how good the company is. If Bitcoin takes a dump another 20%, this one is coming down to $300 or $380, sorry. So if I'm long, I'm invested in MSTR for the long term. And if I'm looking to get long, I will take 20%. That's it, 20%. I would sell puts to own shares, but you have to believe in Bitcoin. Okay, volatile company. Let's see how volatile. That's how volatile. That is a lot of movement. Oh my God. Whew. Okay, this is the pandemic, folks. Down here, this is the pandemic right here. This stock is still 216% above the pandemic level. Whoa. All right, just be realistic. Micron. I would not be long here. I'll say it nicely. I think Micron can be at 72. Can be. I wouldn't short it because of that. There's no short, the obvious short. They have buyers, but from a P&L perspective, and I don't get it. And from a chart perspective, you need to hold 80.6 and 78.5. Let's round to 78. If you lose 80, warning number 1. If you lose 78, warning number 2, you're probably going to the low 70s. A lot of sellers at 86. If you overcome 86, you have a shot at a new high of on the screen. Murphy Oil. Okay, so they lost. They're in a lower low, lower highs. So assume any rallies into 41 and 42 will fade and make a lower low into 37. If you can assume it's going to 37, then you don't chase it too soon. You could start longs a little bit, but I think it's going lower and you will have to add more. I could take a half a position and add the second half if it loses 31. What? Yeah, because if you have half involved and it gets down to here, it's not worth it to double down. But you can if you want to. Okay, this one has the opportunity to get to 59. If the sellers are in charge, I think they're going to sell rallies until they get to 59 in this zone. And then another battle there. Netflix doesn't inspire longs, but of course it's going into earnings in 9 days. So 2 weeks from now, not this coming week, the week after is when it reports earnings. And it was a good short. If somebody followed me here, that was a discussion on multiple levels. I don't think it was an official trade, but if you talk to me about Netflix, I told you that would be the trade I would do. Sellers. And it's the trigger. So if Netflix takes out 503 with force, I don't know, 525 would be easy target. So they are buying dips, and depends on where this dip comes from, where the dip finds support. It should have support inside the zone. So we'll see. Nike, great company. The dip was not bought ferociously, and I didn't buy the dip because there was not enough premium for me to sell puts on it. A lot of sellers at 109, and there should be a lot of buyers at 102. If you lose 102, you're going for a ride. You're probably going to end up at 96. 98. I love it at 98. So I may do something with that. I wouldn't add to a current position. ServiceNow doesn't inspire me longs here. Is this an all-time high? Again, what are you asking for? Are you the same person? I'm going to give you the fact that it is breaking out, and I would be at buy the dip mode into 700. There's a chance it will be at 655 in the next couple of months through no fault of its own. I wouldn't short it though. Okay. This one, watch out for the next pop. If it doesn't make a higher high, it probably is going to 48 in the next month. So what you want to see is on the next pop, will the sellers cause it to do this and drop to here? A lot of buyers here, a lot of support. And what is this? That is a death candle right there. NVIDIA short. I am short NVIDIA as shared. I've traded it for us. This is the third time, twice won. If you followed my take to close the credit call spread when it was pennies, and I reshorted. I think it has the opportunity coming down to the low 500s. Just from a price action. I wouldn't actively short its fundamentals. I'm merely shorting the price action in the stock. So you could stop out on a new high, because if it breaks into a new high, the moon, and then you would lose your peg on that short. I forgot how I shorted it. Did I sell a call spread in the 600s, I think? Something like that. NVT, if they don't come out of 58, they're probably going to 54. It's in the middle of a range. A lot of buyers below, a lot of sellers above. It looks easier to come down to 53, 54 than it is to 59. On Semi, I like the company. We will trade it again. Is it time? I don't know. 22 days until the earnings. Maybe. I'll put it on my watch list. And rallies are going to be met with heavy selling into 78. So there's going to be a resistance. So be careful from rallies. respect the sellers. They might bring it like this, and then it would be a nice entry point down here. I'm going to put an alert. And if it ever comes down to here, look at the P&L. Wow, solid. Phew. Again, picture perfect P&Ls. Oracles, I wouldn't touch it. This is a dinosaur. Actually, let me rephrase. Dinosaur as in, like, it's a good thing. It's survived so many things. P&L solid, so it has no Oracle issues that I know of. But it's it has like an easy line in the sand, almost too easy. 107. If you take out 107, you can get a couple of dollars out of it pretty quickly. And solid support below. So it all depends on your situation. Are you long already? I wouldn't add. Are you looking to get long? I would buy the dip into 105. If it's an investment, don't try to time it. Take a little bite. Leave room to add more later. Oxy, almost similar comments to Oracle. I don't like it, but other people like it for an investment. If it is an investment, you had your opportunity to buy it into a solid support zone. So I get it. Now I think technically you have a problem at 60 and 61 and 61 and a half. So you could be stuck here for a long time. So I'll say it this way. I think Oxy has seen its highs for years. It has the mother of all catalyst. Warren Buffett is buying it for months, and that's what got it up there. And if you were with me for a while, you heard that debate. If you clear 62, you can get to 65 and 6. I get it. And then it will be an exit point there. I don't know the fundamentals of the company very well, so you need to also track that. They look okay. It looks a little weakness in the price, but it looks okay in the earnings. Woo! No touchy for me. If you love it, buy the dip to 304 or 300. PENN, opposite of the other one. Oh my gosh, talk about two different stories. I do like this company's P&L and outlook. So maybe it's time. What? Maybe it's time to get back into this. So I'm looking for a place to get long. Maybe sell a put. You got to see what's going on here. Suddenly they have a big loss. 800 million. Yeah, so I'll put it on my watch list. It's starting to get interesting. How will I play this? Probably sell risk against prior support. Maybe. Rallies are going to be met with sellers, so I wouldn't buy calls because I know that this could happen, but I know that there are sellers here, so they might come back down. So be careful with that. Pepsi falling into support, but also has sellers above. The stock is very volatile given its P&L stability. So if the market's correct, you can find yourself at 162, 161. If I'm long, I'm not adding. If I'm looking to get long, I'm not taking more than 30% of my stake because I might need to add some more in the 150s. It looks heavy on top. They need to be at 170 for me to feel better. It's doable. So it will need help from the markets. Pfizer, great bounce like we thought it would. Up here, it's not for me because now you might be doing this. In fact, I'm going to try to visualize it for you. There we go. Be careful of that path. It's potentially what's going to happen. I'll put it in yellow to discern it. Okay. Hey, video 2 is done.